In this video, we're going to take a look at the WNBA playoffs and if they are going to start on Tuesday night. And you know the old cliche, the playoffs do not start until the home team loses a game. And well, that did not happen on Sunday. The question is, will it happen on Tuesday night? Really, I do not have much hope for Atlanta and New York. I think New York is going to finish them off. Yes, apologies to New York. I probably just doomed you. As because I've said that, I can see Ryan Howard and Tina Charles going off and just because I predicted the other way. But in this video, we are going to focus on Seattle and Las Vegas. Now, the New York Liberty would have a very big interest in this, as I'm sure they would love this, to go 3 games and for them to beat up on each other and be nice and worn out by the time they have to travel to New York to start their series, whoever the winner might be. Now, the wash up from game 1, it's pretty clear Seattle would have been very disappointed and very embarrassed of only scoring 2 points in the fourth quarter on a pair of Diggins Smith free throws. And there are no two ways about it. This was a tough loss. You'd rather almost be blown out in the playoff game like the Memorial Day Massacre where the Lakers went down to the Celtics and you can have that bounce back game. In game 2, they don't have that. This game was there for their taking. They were ahead by 1 point in the fourth quarter. They came out strong. I think they were up by 9 and at the end of the first quarter, and just they collapsed in the fourth. And the Seattle Times article, really, they took the press conference and made it look like the Storm, they don't have an alpha, a team leader, and they used Nneka Ogwumike's quote against her.
Behind the thing. But just curious, kind of what was the conversation kind of amongst you guys in that fourth quarter as you're trying to figure a way to get out of it?
I can't lie, I didn't say anything. I was trying to catch my breath. That's just really what I was trying to do. But looking back, I could have said something. I think everybody was just trying to stay calm.
And it's really easy to paint this picture. You'd say, Ogwumike, she's too quiet and not a vocal leader. And then you would say, Diggins Smith, she's too out of control. And you can take the comments after they lost Washington.
Like in this league, if you aren't ready to play, you'll get beat every. They were ready to play and we weren't on both sides of the basketball. Like they deserve to win the game if we're gonna play like that. We need to be hitting our stride right now. We're not there. It's unacceptable how we're playing on both sides of the basketball. And I up at the end, that's a terrible foul. As a vet, you can't make that play, but it's come down to that. We all got to step our game up. In this league, it only gets harder after the break. And that's fine. That's fine. But if we don't come ready to play from the start, lose.
Where she was a bit unhinged, and then the previous issues she had with Taurasi when they were struggling, and it's like, who is the leader on this team? And then when you look at the box score and you see that Jewell Loyd was limited to, I think it was around 24 minutes, and when the game got tight in the fourth quarter, there was a chance it was 70-67. And Quinn, the coach, decided to put Loyd on the bench and go with Jordan Horston. So it's just an easy argument to say there's a leadership vacuum on this team. But to be honest, I really don't believe that. I think it's a combination of issues. It's really the issue that plagued them all season. So one, you would point to that Izzy Magdebor is out in concussion protocol, and they don't know if she's going to be back for game 2 or not. That's an issue, obviously. But overall, I thought Mercedes Russell played well in her place, and I don't think it was a big drop-off. The big issue, and the issue they've had all season, is consistent outside shooting from their guards. As Diggins Smith, once again, she struggled from outside. She shot 33% from the floor, going 5 for 15, and then from the three-point line, she was 0 for 3. Jewell Loyd was only 2 for 8, so that was 25%, and then she was 1 for 3 from the three-point line, so basically 33%, but that's just not enough production and not enough outside pressure on them. And Ogwumike said there was just so much, it got crowded in the second half inside. And basically that's due that their guards cannot hit outside shots. And that has been an issue all season, as Diggins Smith on the season, she shot 29% from 3. The previous season she last played prior to being on leave due to pregnancy or the birth of her child was 22 in Phoenix, where she shot 29% that year. And then prior to that, she was a 30% shooter, like in 2020 and 2021, like both of those years, she shot well over like 39% and 37%. So I don't know what is going on with her shot, but she definitely needs to get it right to take some of the pressure off of Nneka Ogwumike. And Jewell Loyd is in the same boat as well, as this year she has shot only 36% from the floor. And her three-point shooting is down as well at 27%. She's only shooting an effective field goal shooting percentage of 40%. Now, she's always struggled with her field goal shooting percentage. In 2022 and 2023, she was under 40%, but you could say Seattle was undermanned, but it just hasn't happened this year. You thought those would have gone up to about 40%, her field goal shooting percentage, but it hasn't. And then why their three-point shot has disappeared for both Diggin Smith and for Jewell Loyd, it's a mystery, as Jewell Loyd always shoots over 30%. She was 35%, 38%, 37%, 39% just in the last four or 5 years. So it's just a mystery, and they need to find it fast. Now, the question with her, did her knee injury impact her? Was that why Quinn kept her out at the very end of the game? We just don't know. And if it is impacting her, it's very unlikely the Storm will say anything about it. Now, just a quick look on Degenerate Corner. I show the Aces as -8. The over-under is 159.5. The money line, the Aces are -380. The Storm are +300. So if you're in Vegas, maybe you want to put a punt on this, but I would not do that, because really, even though this video seems bleak, if you're a Storm fan, it's just one game. So the Storm come out and Diggin Smith finds her shot. Jewell Loyd has a game, which they're both capable of doing, and this series is on its head, and all of a sudden they have the advantage, and even more of a chance for Izzy Megdebor to come back to give them more depth in the front court. And then the Aces have to travel to a Hornets nest in Seattle. So I'm not saying it's totally done, and I would not put my money on this. But one thing is very clear. There is extreme pressure on the Storm tonight, which is a Captain Obvious statement. Obviously, they're fighting for their lives, but as well, they're fighting for jobs. So Noelle Quinn, if they lose this game and go out, then it's more than likely she is gone with the free agents that she has brought in. The other pressure on the Storm is that Nneka Ogwumike, she's only on a 1-year contract. She cannot be cored. She could be a one and done potentially and go back to LA or Chicago or somewhere else, because she did the tour last year. There's nothing guaranteed saying that she is coming back to the Seattle Storm if they go out. And that's why this game is so great, because of the pressure that's going to be on them, and they might flourish under the pressure and come together. That's obviously what the hope is if you're a Seattle Storm fan, and that's happened to teams in the past. I remember the Houston Rockets, on their first championship run, they went down 0-2 to the Phoenix Suns, and it felt we lost both games on our home court. You thought it was all done and dusted, and then they went to Phoenix and won 2 games in a row, and that galvanized the team, and they were off to the races after that. And that's how you can light a fire that quickly, and this team can get in a roll. So it'll be fascinating to watch. Now, if the Aces do close them out, then game on between them and the Liberty, I think. Like I said, I think the Liberty will finish out Atlanta, and that's just going to be an enticing matchup. It's going to be unbelievably good. As it's the classic cliche, if you want to be the champion, then you have to beat the champion, and they did not beat them last year. And just at the end of the season recently, with A'ja Wilson out, the Aces kept that game tight, and just a little reminder to the New York Liberty, hey, we're here and we can play you, and we got a pretty good backcourt. So my predictions for the game, yes, I think New York will finish off Atlanta in convincing fashion, and I think the Aces will finish off the Storm in convincing fashion. I apologize to the fan bases of the Liberty and the Aces, as your teams are now doomed after my prediction, no doubt. Anyway, enjoy the game. Have a great night. Your comments and poison are welcome.